Welcome, everybody. This is the 1st of July, and this is the Open Research Institute's projects meetup. And welcome. And what we do is talk about what we have done over the past week or so, what we have planned for the next week, if there's any roadblocks that we have, and if we need any resources. So I will turn the floor over to you, Paul. You can start us off.
Well, it's going to be kind of boring because I haven't done anything this week. Mostly watched. Do you make progress on getting Opulent Voice working here in the lab with the encapsulation over the Ethernet? You made a lot of progress on that. I'll let you cover that. I've just been here for support.
Well, I think you're selling yourself a little short there. You've been a huge help, and you are developing independently a receiver implementation. So
Yeah, but it hasn't had anything added to it in the last week or so.
well, we have added quite a few issues to the issue,
Battery 5.
and
PC
also
connected.
removed
Phone
some
1
issues or
connected.
closed out some issues too. So yeah, I'll go ahead and start. I'll do a roundup of the of what I've got, and then open it up to questions. So broader ORI work. We've delivered content for the Charter Item 2. This is for FCC TAC, or Technological Advisory Council. And the way that that works, it's a citizen volunteer advisory council, and you get a list of charter items. Your mandate is to go and do the best you can to answer questions raised in the charter. So the particular charter item that we were handed, given an opportunity to contribute towards, is about the evolution of spectrum management models. And then the second part of that is terrestrial and satellite interaction, regulatory interaction. So we've delivered content mainly for the first one to handle evolution of spectrum management models. And we're going to get plenty of feedback. The weekly meeting is later today. So things are moving forward, and we've been a very active part of the Advanced Spectrum Sharing Working Group for this term. The term ends in September. Our final meeting is in very early August. So we'll have lots to share about that as the process closes out, end of our 2-year term. And no news yet on whether or not there'll be a next term. So as soon as I learn that, I'll spread it around. Another item, our complex modulation math article will be in ARRL's QEX magazine. This will be the September-October issue, so coming right up. And the process is, yet again, been a positive one. Pete Wyckoff has completed part 2 of his article series on using delayed Doppler channel modulation techniques for EVE, or Earth, Venus, Earth. This has direct application to EME, or Earth, Moon, Earth, and also terrestrial amateur communications. So that will be coming out in our newsletter here very shortly. And then about Opulent Voice. So here's the updates. This is for mainly the transmitter is what I've been working on. So taking our data stream and framing it up, and then sending it out to either SDR or a radio, or to another computer. So you can use our software, our Interlocutor software, either over a LAN, over the internet, as a remote, a way to remotely access a radio, or directly to a radio to go out over the air. So over the past week, a configuration manager has been implemented. This is what it does is it handles all the things that you might want to keep track of, like your station ID, the target IP address for either your SDR or another computer, all the things that you need flexibility with, whether or not you're talking to a computer or you're talking to a modem, things like that. And the configuration manager writes it to a YAML file, or yet another markup language file. Advantages of using YAML for the config files is that it's human readable. And in case you need it to be converted to JSON, that's a relatively straightforward process. So that was implemented. Then we did an audio device manager, because we can anticipate that handling USB headsets and microphones and speakers and things like that is going to be a big part of using radio. And hard coding in the one that works in our lab probably not the best approach for spreading this code around and getting people to use it. So, read up on Pi Audio, which is what we were using as a library, and looked at best practices and implemented an audio device manager. So it keeps track of your audio hardware as a separate YAML file. And what it does is it will list your audio devices for you. It will help you pick one and it will test it for you. So you can test your microphone level and you can test how it sounds in your headset or on your speaker. So all of that got it up and running. The next thing that was done over the past week was to develop an automated test suite. Because at this point, it's complicated enough. We have lots of command line options. You know, we're still at the command line sort of state. We do not yet have a HTML GUI interface. That's where we want to move. But we always want this command line interface to be able to work. So, as we develop further, when we add more complexity or change things or continue development, what we don't want is the things that are working today to stop working. So we need to have a way of testing that doesn't take a lot of time, and an automated test suite is really the right answer. So again, this is sort of best practices way of doing software development, and we're at the point where we needed it, so we wrote it. And after some work, everything is now passing. So what does it do? Well, it exercises all of the functions. The first phase of the test suite exercises just basic operation. Does the program still start up and tear down cleanly? That's important. The second set is the audio related stuff. You know, can you list? It doesn't actually go through the testing for audio hardware. You really do need a person to kind of follow through and test it. You can't really inject the microphone tones or anything like that. But all of the other command line stuff for audio, whether it lists and enters these states, that is now part of the automated test. The third one is the networking selection behavior. That's the third phase of the automated test. And what it does is it makes sure that you can change the IP address of your target, change the port. And if you give an invalid port number, or if you give a nonsense for IP address, that it catches those sorts of things. So we want the program to be as helpful as possible and to give you solid feedback. So that's what that phase of the test kind of tests for. Let's see, after that, it's the operating mode behavior. We do have a couple of operating modes here that we would like to keep working. And so the automated test enforces that. There is a chat only mode where if you don't have a microphone or speaker, you just want to chat either over the air or over a computer link. We need to make sure that going in and out of that mode stays good. And then we have a verbose and a quiet mode. The verbose mode gives you a lot of debug information about all of the things that are happening in the code. And the quiet mode is this is just the bare minimum of feedback, for you to use the program. So it's not very chatty. And just to so this is part of the test to make sure that those things still work. And then the next part is about this configuration file. What if you don't have a config file? Well, it still works because we have defaults built into the code base itself. What if you have a partial config file? Should still work. And what if you have a corrupted config file? Needs to be able to flag that and tell you. So that's the next part of the test. Anyway, development will continue. We'll keep the all of this is published in our GitHub repo for Interlocutor. And big thanks to Paul and many other people that have helped over the past week. So lots of forward progress. And that concludes my report. And I say Matthew is here. And Matthew, you have the floor if you would like it.
There's not much to report. I've been just busy with personal stuff. We closed on a house and had to go up to Fort Collins a few times, and one more trip is planned. So after that, I think I should be able to start getting back into the swing of things as we're trying to move stuff from the old place to the new place. So lots on, but sorry, not much progress within the Opulent Voice efforts.
Yeah, looking forward to you coming back and yeah, congratulations on the house, and moving can be that's a big deal. So very best wishes, and we look forward to seeing you seeing you again real soon.
Great, thank you.
You bet. Oh, hi, Aaron.
Hello.
Hey, you're right on time. You have the floor.
Oh, really? Okay. Great. So this past week, um, since I got the demonstration out of the way, I was started looking at integrating or porting the DVB-S2 encoder over to OpenCPI. And then I immediately ran into not a bug, but a feature that's been requested, which the DVB-S2 encoder utilizes 2008 VHDL, and OpenCPI does not. But it's been a feature request for some time, so I've been working on enabling support for VHDL 2008 as a precursor to the overall goal of getting the DVB-S2 encoder inside OpenCPI to be so that it can be ported onto other platforms besides the Pluto SDR. So that's what I worked on a little bit, and I'll continue to work on and make progress towards. There's nothing in my way. Yep. Sorry, I'm a little late, but I came right on time.
Right. Yeah. So I'm somewhat familiar as a user of VHDL about the version differences, but I don't think I've ever had to port anything. What
Well,
in your
the way
experience?
that OpenCPI adds files, VHDL files, in Vivado, you have to specify, part of the tickle TCL commands. If it is a 2008, there are a special. I think you just add that you have to let the tool know that it's a 2008 VHDL versus not. So sudo in the DVS2, there's a build script that calls the tickle script that adds all the files, and it includes that his libraries and when building the project, the encoder itself, it's 2008, and OpenCPI in the background, the make files and the build engine that puts all these things together doesn't have that ability yet to signify that this particular source file is the flavor 2008. So yeah, that's where that's what I'm looking into right now.
Okay, that's really interesting. I
Yeah.
look forward to hearing how it goes, and if it unrolls into something more complicated, if it is it sounds like mainly configuration management or like a like a s- file structure definition challenge more than a language problem.
That's right. Yes, it is. Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Groovy. Okay, well, the floor is open for any other questions or comments.